I guess, an interesting career. I worked government contractor for about 12 years, a bunch of different projects, and there's definitely, I guess, a different sense based on the environment that you're in, based on what you're producing, what folks actually want, and I guess where the stakeholders are and what they're actually interested in. But recently I've kind of, I guess, identified a little bit of a parable with it all. And the question that I've kind of started asking a little bit, and this kind of goes along the lines of are you celebrated or tolerated, is are you a celebrity or a superhero? I've sort of put a training together based around that idea because the whole idea of being celebrated and tolerated is really based on your environment. And one thing that I kind of find is that when people go to certain environments, they create boundaries for themselves. So in other words, the boundary might exist at work, it might exist at home, but it might exist in some environment. And if that boundary does exist, if you create a separate environment somewhere and you kind of, I guess, cordon that off from the rest of, I guess, what your life might actually be considered, that's kind of like more of this superhero mentality. So you have Superman and Clark Kent, and the alter ego is what that boundary essentially represents. And on the other side, you have this idea of a celebrity, and a celebrity is not really someone that you kind of mistake for anyone else. They might be portraying something, but they're still that original person. And so the way I look at those boundaries is that person wherever they go, whether they're acting or not. And so with that, I kind of see there's, I guess, a little bit of a overlap with this idea of being celebrated or tolerated, because depending on which one you actually, I guess, resonate with, things can change with that. And you may find that, for example, I kind of look at myself more on the celebrity side because I work to be the same everywhere I go, and that's not always welcome. That's not always tolerated. And so I have to consider, okay, is this the best environment for me to be in? Am I going to be able to reach my potential in this environment? And I think that's a fundamental question that you really have to ask. And some environments just are going to be toxic. They're not going to be there to help you. But you have to understand, okay, well, what is this environment actually doing for you? And sometimes the environment's there to create a challenge for you to overcome. And other times it's kind of just, forecasting, hey, this is exactly what it looks like. You need to make a decision as far as if this is actually going to work for you or not. But that's the question I kind of pose for everyone is, are you a superhero or a celebrity? And again, what boundaries have you actually put up and where? Because how you actually dictate sort of like leading your life with that, you might actually be kind of shielding yourself if you choose like the superhero lifestyle where you're different at work than you are at home, because there's this safety net idea you feel like you have that you need to have in place when you're at work. So for that very reason, you may not ever hit your full potential just for the fact that you are kind of just trying to navigate the rules that exist within that environment. But just wanted to kind of share that thought and just a little bit different view and perspective just on the topic in the conversation. And I yield the mic. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So, you said, are you the superhero or the celebrity? I like to think of myself as a superhero. I'm a very selfless person, and so I think I like to say I'm a superhero. And I didn't want to say superhero, but it just gave me two options. Then I guess that's what I would go with. Because it's a selfless. It's a more selfless one that you option you gave. So I would say superhero.
So, question: is this Erica?
Yes, it's Erica.
All right, question for you, Erica. Based on that response, would you say that you have, let's say, a boundary between, I guess, one environment that you're in versus another? So, for example, work and home.
I have to think about that.
Because that's the fundamental difference. If you actually create boundaries, that's the mark of a superhero. The reason why the Clark Kent alter ego was created was to protect Superman. The reason why Batman was created was to protect Bruce Wayne, allow him to do the things that Bruce Wayne couldn't actually do. So that's what the superhero kind of piece of it is. There's kind of this element of secrecy, because if the boundary wasn't there, then there would be considered more risk than not without having that boundary. And I think that's something that a lot of folks have to face, because when you don't feel safe in an environment, that's the reason the boundaries go up in the first place.
Quick question, please. So would you say Clark Kent was a celebrity if he didn't have the alter ego of Superman?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time, Tommy?
I said, would you then conclude that Clark Kent would have been a celebrity if he did not have the alter ego of Superman?
That's the fundamental question right there. So if you consider two separate egos, a Clark Kent and a Superman, fundamentally you would imagine them being the same person, but they're in different environments where there needs to be a boundary, where there's differences between the two. So in other words, Clark Kent would never reveal what his strengths were as Superman, just as Superman would never reveal what his alter ego was in Clark Kent. So when you actually have to create that boundary, are you ever your true self on either side, or is the true self at the boundary itself?
Food for thoughts.
That's deep.
That's why I appreciate kind of the responses in the conversation, because every time I ask this question, folks are thinking in a completely different way than they did before. Because when you think about being celebrated and tolerated, you think of this idea of maybe when you're celebrated, everyone agrees with you, and that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes you can be celebrated and people can disagree with you, but that's the environment you need to be in, because they respect you enough to tell you the truth. And the same thing goes on the tolerated side. You may have a viewpoint that, you know what, I'm not being tolerated in this environment because people aren't agreeing with me. The agreement piece doesn't necessarily put you in the right environment. It's the respect aspect. Does someone respect you enough to, even if they don't agree with you, to listen what you have to say? And so just the whole understanding of the environment that you're in is incredibly important. And sometimes people aren't defining that environment as far as what are they looking to get out of it and what is it actually giving them. But the moment you see something that maybe wasn't as apparent before, you might recognize that an environment's different than what you thought it was.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Arthur.
I was going to say, fascinating conversation. I'm not sure if any of you saw Kevin Hart interview Cameron Diaz a few days ago, but she was interviewed because she gave up, retired from acting, and he asked her the $1 million question why she did that. And she said that her personality, she threw herself into acting at the expense of all the other aspects and environments in her life. So she needed to retire to reconcile her private self. She's got a married family, and some people can't operate in two zones, and she was clear about that. Whereas Kevin Hart, who's interviewing her, has a family and has a very strict discipline in terms of allocation of time to family, exercise, wellness, as well as performance. So I think egos operate in different zones because we operate in different places. You know, if you look at code switching, whether that be on cultural, ethnic grounds, whether it be on gender grounds, we're constantly operating in different environments. So there are lots of different faces to the environments. Some people go to work tomorrow and they go into an environment they just don't like, but they do it because they get a paycheck. So they may perceive that as a hostile environment, but they see that there's a utility for an economic return. Some people love work at the expense of building a private life and don't have what you might call are the ingredients for a good life, whether it be a partner, a family, kids, whatever it might be. So I would agree with the comments that have just been made by Etzel that there are these boundaries. I think it's for all of us to decide and discern where our priorities are in the context of our interrelationship with people, and then what principles we live by will define the purpose and the calling in our life. And you'll see that in the quality of people's lives. And I often, when I meet people, I'm looking to see where their priorities are and looking at what I would call their personal brand architecture, because it helps you understand who someone is. But I think we're all very different. And I think hostile environments can be loving environments. Family can be sometimes the most challenging space, and can be very hostile. But some of us, if it's family, we're addicted to that environment because that's part of our DNA. And I'll end on this. I always say we are what we are when no one's looking. And I think it's part of the reason why Clubhouse has been so successful is that people can express their heart and their self without the pressure of having to conform to a visual dynamic beyond a thumbnail. I yield the mic.
Thank you, Dr. Ray, for your share. I appreciate your input. And then thank you, definitely thank the episode as well for input. Thank you for what you do as a teacher, you Tunde, and our teachers in the room, and our teachers for the school year. Thank you for what you do. It's appreciated. And so you made some interesting points, and I appreciate your share. Definitely. Yeah, welcome Jose to the stage as well. Tia.